Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Malanga, and I am the host today for our Google for Education webinar about Google Drive. So today for our webinar, you're going to get an overview of the Google Drive product and explore the various features. We're going to look at the different product features for your organization and especially the sharing mechanism. So we're going to go through and hopefully explain more of that for you. My name is Chris Malanga, and I'm an integration specialist at NWOCA. I put my contact information up on the screen there, so feel free to jot it down. At NWOCA, one of the things I'm most proud of is that we're able to help you out, and we're there for you after these webinars, not just showcasing this information, but we're there to come in and help you in your school and do whatever we can to help you out and make the best use of the products. I've been with NWOCA since July of 2016, but I'm no stranger to training. I've been doing it for several years now, and really looking forward to sharing the power of Google Drive with you. Just a couple of housekeeping items. First off, if you're calling on the phone or the computer, please mute yourself, but if you want to ask a question, feel free to unmute. There is a chat box on the side. Just make sure it's open. We sent a couple of chats out, so hopefully that'll pop open for you. If you have questions, feel free to chat to everyone or to Christy Hughes, who also works with me at NWOCA, and she's kind of monitoring the chat and will be able to answer any questions or problems that you might have in the chat. You can ask questions by unmuting yourself or using the chat box. And if you want to follow along in your old Google account, feel free to open up another tab in your browser so you can still see what's going on but also work in your account. I want to mention our training website, which is located at training.nwoca.org. We've got a great set of classroom checklists. All you have to do is click on one of the product icons that you see there, and Drive is included. And once you do that, you'll be taken to a checklist of all the different things that you should be able to do in that product. And each of the checklist items has a link on it to a little video that will help you solve that particular issue. So if you ever get stuck with anything, not just in Google Drive, but any of the other Google Docs or the Google Suite products, you can use the checklist at training.nwoca.org. We've also got some recorded webinars there, different training events, and a couple mailing lists you can sign up for as well. Our Tuesday Tech Tips list has 182 people on it right now, and we just sent out our latest today. I think it's episode number 14. These are technology tips and ideas. Each week on Tuesday, we send you one technology tip or idea into your inbox, and we also send the latest webinar right into your email inbox. We don't spam you, and the URL to sign up for that is right there. Later on, I'll show you how to get a copy of the presentation so that you're able to go right there very easily. But we really suggest that you check out the Tuesday Tech Tips. Also, we have the Google Educators Group of Northwest Ohio, and I'm going to put her on the spot a little bit, but Christy, can you tell the folks here a little bit about the GEG?
Sure. Thanks, everyone, for attending this webinar. I am one of the co-leaders of the GEG of Northwest Ohio, along with John Mantle-Platel, and we work to provide different events throughout the school year, and they're all in different places. We've had some in Archbold, some in Sylvania. This one coming up is in Perrysburg, which is on March 7th, and it's completely free. You can attend, you can present, or you can just go and attend and get some information. We are looking for presenters for that, and all of that information is included with the link there. But basically what a GEG is and what it stands for is a Google Educators Group, and we just like to get people together to share and build different lessons and different ideas of what people are doing across the state. So please feel free to join us. Visit that link if you are interested in doing that.
Thanks, Christy. We are really excited to be in Perrysburg on March 7th, and we just encourage you to please join us. It's a free event, and it's an all-day event, and it's pretty cool. Some resources for this session that we may or may not need. I have a direct link to the Google Drive checklist with the tutorials. There's also a folder with some sample Word, Excel, and PowerPoint files that I'm going to be showing off, and then our Drive and Docs manual. That's kind of a printed instruction manual on how to use Drive and Docs. Those are all available out there for you. So let's talk about Google Drive. With the Google Drive product, it's the Google Drive itself, and then of course there's the different products built in. It's docs, slides, sheets, forms, drawings, among others. And we have webinars on all of these different topics coming up yet this year. I'm pretty excited about our webinar series. We're going to do one webinar a week through Memorial Day week for teachers, and then we're doing one a month for the admins as well. So when we look at Google Drive, I really think of Google Drive as kind of a two-phase product. The first phase is unlimited cloud-based storage. And what this means is literally you have unlimited storage out there in the cloud for whatever you need, whether that's folders and Google product files or any other file. You can store any kind of files. You can store Photoshop files, Word files, Excel files. Plus, Google Drive includes that Google Suite of docs, sheets, slides, forms, and drawings. So that's really what Google Drive is. Think of it first as your unlimited cloud-based storage, your hard drive out in the cloud. A lot of people don't realize that. They think it's just the starting point for the G Suite, but really you can put anything that you have on your hard drive into Google Drive and have it available to all your devices in the cloud. So one of the things that we like to do with Google Drive is the sharing. And so we can use Google Drive to kind of organize our teaching life. We can make folders for different grade levels. We can share lesson plans. We can use it for our SLOs. We can throw videos in there and group project folders. Those are just some of the ways that we can use the Google Drive within our school environment. It's a great way to keep things organized and just keep all your documents at hand no matter what device you're on. Because when you sign in to the Chrome browser on any device, whether that be a computer or an iPad or a phone, all of your documents will travel with you with Google Drive. So to get to Google Drive, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is start with Google and click the blue sign in link at the top. And once you've signed in, you're going to put your username and password in. And then you're going to go to the Apps Launcher. And the Apps Launcher is that 3x3 square grid. We call it the waffle iron or the Rubik's Cube. And if you click on that Apps Launcher, you'll see your apps. And if you click the More button at the bottom, you'll even see more apps, including where Google Classroom is. But what we're looking at is Google Drive for today. We're going to go through some of the different topics within Google Drive. So there's not really a lot of slides to this one. We're just going to kind of show you how to do different items in there. And if there's something in particular that you want to know how to do within Google Drive, please feel free to send it into the chat box or just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question. We won't set up like a Q&A time at the end. You can just ask as we're going through. But we're going to look at the user interface. So we're going to look at the different things, how to create a new file, your drive, the difference between Drive and Shared with Me. We're going to look at how to sort your drive and look at some of the settings. We're also going to look at managing folders. So Google Drive is great because if you're used to being a folder within a folder kind of organizer, you can do that as well. But we'll also show you how to do things with search as well. So managing folders. We're also going to talk about working with files. So uploading files to Google Drive, how to convert files, how to browse files, and then how to move files. We'll talk about the predictive search as well. One of the great things about Google Drive is the Google search product is built right into it. So if you're not one of those people that likes to save things in nice little packaged folders, you can always find what you're looking for by using a Google search. And finally, we'll talk about the collaborative piece of Google Drive, which is the sharing. And there's 5 different ways we can share things, 5 different levels of sharing. So we're going to talk about that as well into Google Drive. So I'm going to jump out of the presentation and go into my Google Drive and look around here with you. So to do Google Drive, we're going to start off at Google. And I've already signed into my Google account as Fred Flintstone, which is one of our demo accounts that we're using. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that little Rubik's Cube or waffle iron. And when I do that, I hit into Google Drive. And so this is my Google Drive. And we're going to take a little tour around it. So on the left side, that's your toolbar on the left that helps you find things categorized certain ways. We'll explain that here in just a minute. And then this is your drive itself. Right now, my drive is in list view. And what list view allows me to do is see the owner of each item within my Google Drive. I can see the date it was last modified and the title, and I can sort by anything I want by clicking on it. So if I want to sort this by name, I can just click name, and now it's sorted by name. Please note when you're in list view, the folders are all going to be at the top. They're going to be folders first, and then all your documents and such will be below the folders. So that's list view. And we also have what's called grid view. So I click on this little icon right here, and I get into grid view. Now, when you go into Google Drive the first time, it's very likely that you'll be in grid view. And so this is the way you would see it. And grid view has its own set of cool features, and that's the fact that you can see a kind of a preview of what the document looks like. So when I'm in the list view, I can see details about who owns it, and I can see what type of document it is. But once I'm in grid view, I can actually see a little preview, which once you have tons of documents here, you'll be able to see which one you're looking for and maybe quickly find it. So that is the two views that you have within Google Drive. Okay. Once you select something in Google Drive, you'll get another set of icons up here that we'll talk about in just a second. But along the left side of my my Drive window, I can see some various links here that will take me to different parts of my Drive. The first is My Drive, and that's just the main Google Drive, the root of your drive. If you use the little triangle here, it'll open up a drop-down, a hierarchical view of your drive. So if you have tons of folders and you're used to viewing on your computer this way, you can use the little arrow to turn down and see like a drop-down of your drive stuff. Shared with me is a different part of Google Drive, and that is anything that has ever been shared with you will reside in the Shared with Me part of your Google Drive. The interesting thing about Shared with Me is that you can't organize it. It's basically organized by date with the newest stuff on top and the oldest stuff on the bottom. Now we could sort that around and have the oldest stuff to the newest stuff. We can reverse that. But you can't put it in folders. You can't do anything with it other than open it. And that's by design. If you really want to organize something in your drive, you want to first add it to your drive. And so I know that seems like kind of a foreign concept, but this is just a quick way to find anything that's been shared with you. Note that when something is shared with you, you're basically seeing the same document that the person who's sharing is seeing. It's not really making a copy of it. You're seeing the same document. So if somebody shares a Google Doc with you, for example, and shares it with you, it's really their document that you're just looking at and participating on. It's not a separate copy. The same thing when you move it to your drive. So if this is shared with me, I created this with my actual NWOCA account, and if I want to add this to my drive, I can click on it and say add to my drive. It's now inside my drive, and I can put it in whatever folder I want to, but it's still the same file that it was here in Shared with Me. So if I would take off Fred's sharing of this item, it would just disappear from the Shared with Me, and it would also disappear from my drive. If somebody has shared something with you and you want to keep a copy of it, you need to make a copy for yourself. The recent one is also pretty neat because it shows you the stuff you've most recently edited. So it's a quick way that if you forget the name of something or you're not really sure what you called it or where you filed it, but you know you worked on it within the past couple of days, it'll show up in your recent area. The Google Photos area, that would be for any pictures that you put into Google Photos product. We don't have that right now, so it's not even in there. The starred document is pretty cool, though, the starred area. So if there's any document that you want to kind of have at hand or keep close by, you can star it or make it a favorite. The way you do that is when you go into your drive, you find your document. So let's do the one for today, this Google Drive webinar. I can click on it and right-click and say Add Star. And now that I just starred will show up here in the starred items. So the best practice case I use for starring is when we're doing a training or we're preparing a training, I star either the folders or files that we're using that I use most frequently. We have a folder, for example, called our INS shared folder, and that is where we keep all of our shared documents. And in the INS shared folder, I put that on my starred so that I can always get back to it quickly. The last thing on here is our trash, and this would be any files or folders that you don't need anymore. You can move to the trash, and then you can empty the trash to permanently delete the items. Once something is in your trash, you're able to recover it out pretty easily. And I'll show you that here in just a little bit. Like I said, once you select something at the top, you will have some more icons. This one right here is to get a shareable link, to share that with somebody, to preview it, to put it in the trash. And then there's a pull-down menu with some more actions where you can open it with, move it somewhere, put a star on it, remove a star, rename it, see the details, make a copy, or download. And then over here, this I button will also show you the details about the Google Drive webinar, for example, including all the people that have shared it with me. So that is a quick interface tour. And if you have any questions as we're going along, please feel free to put them in the chat or just unmute and ask any questions that you have. And that's kind of the tour of Google Drive. One other thing is up here, this menu is a breadcrumb menu. So if you think of the Hansel and Gretel story where we have they left breadcrumbs, up here, these links will always get you back. So now that I'm deep within a folder, I can just click My Drive and I'm back out again. These links also work as a drag and drop. So if I want to drop something and put it in My Drive, it's right there, and now it's out of that folder and it's in My Drive. Okay. So let's talk about folders within the drive. I'm back in My Drive, and we can create folders pretty easily. We can use this blue New button, and we can say New Folder, and we can simply name the folder. Call that Webinars, and there it is. If I don't like the name of the folder and I want to change it, I can simply right-click on it. I can click Rename. And now I can name it January Webinars, for example. Okay. We can also star a folder. So again, you can right-click, and that's the way that I tend to do things is with a right-click of the mouse. Or if you're on a Mac or a Chromebook, it's a two-finger click, and I can add star. And now under starred, January Webinars will be right there. Okay. One of the cool things we can do with folders is we can also color code them. So if I want to change the color of this folder, I can right-click on it, hit Change Color, and let's make this folder blue, for example. And so now, when I click off of it, you can see that the January webinar is blue. So I'm going to right-click and change the color of a couple other of these so we can distinguish them. Okay, so now we have 3 different folders with 3 different colors. As you'll notice, they change over here as well. Okay. To move a folder, there's a couple different ways to move folders. You can just simply drag and drop on top. So if I want to put this January or this untitled form one inside my January webinars, all I have to do is click and drag and drop. And now if I go inside my January webinars folder, there it is. Okay. If I want to delete a folder, I'm going to make a new folder first just to show you the delete. So I do new folder. I'm going to say delete this. Okay. So if I want to delete a folder, it's pretty easy. Just right-click on it and hit remove. And now it'll be in the trash. So if I come over to trash, there's delete this. And then when I click on delete this within the trash, I can either restore it or delete forever. If I restore it, it's going to put it right back up into where it was inside my Google Drive. So I'm going to hit restore, and now you can see it's back here in my drive. So that's some of the easy stuff with Google Drive. So what I was saying is I was getting into making new files. So we can upload certain files to our Google Drive. We can upload or upload and convert. So let me talk about the difference between those. First, if we drop any type of file into Google Drive, it is going to stay there in that native format unless we say it can be converted. So for example, I've got a Word example on my desktop, and I'm just dragging it over to my Google Chrome window, and now it is starting to upload that Word example, and hopefully you'll be able to see that. So this W here shows you that it's a Word document. If I click on that Word document after I've uploaded it, it'll show up in a preview only mode, so I can just simply print it or download it, and I really can't do anything with it editing wise. I can do the same thing with an Excel file, and we'll throw a PowerPoint file in there for good measure as well. So now I have an example of an Excel, an example of Word, an example of PowerPoint. And again, once I open those native files, they will show up just kind of as something that is a preview mode. Can't really edit them at this point. Let me show you what happens when we turn on our conversion in Google Drive. So if I go to the Settings menu and I go to Settings, there's a button right here called Convert Uploaded Files to Google Docs Editor Format. What's going to happen when I do that, when I click that, anything that I upload to Google Drive is now going to be converted. So any PowerPoints I upload will be converted to slides. Any Word documents I uploaded will be converted to Google Docs. Any Excel files I upload will go to Google Sheet. And so now I'm going to upload those same 3 files and show you the difference. I'm uploading 3 files. Do you see the difference here? These are the 2 files that I've done. First off, the green X is the Excel file, and the green Sheets icon is the Google Sheet. So if I open this Excel file, you can see that I've got a spreadsheet right here. It's not a native Google Sheet. But when I open this up, what has happened is it has converted my Excel document to a Google Sheet automatically. So that's all down to that setting right here to convert uploaded files to Google Docs editor format. And I believe, Christy can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it only works with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint files at this point, converting the uploaded files. So we can have a little discussion as when you want to do this. Personally, and this is just my personal opinion, if you're uploading a bunch of old stuff to Google Drive for historical purposes, meaning you want to keep it saved and you want to be able to access it later on, I would not have that box checked. I would just leave it in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, the old stuff. Now, if you're uploading some stuff that you currently have that you're going to currently use, I would turn that checkbox on and have it automatically convert. So there's no need to really convert a whole bunch of old files. But anything from like going forward from here, you would want to set it up in the native file formats. I will point out that it does keep the name with the .xlsx extension here, for example. So just use that little icon to show you the difference between this is the Excel one and this is the sheet. You can always go in later on, and if you want to take out the file format so it doesn't confuse you, you could double click on it, and I could just take out the parts I don't want, oops, and delete it out. So now it's just called Excel example. Okay, and it automatically saves itself in there. The Word document, I can open that, and now it's converted into a docs format. It looks exactly the same. I can take the PowerPoint, the one that made into Sheets, can open that up, or excuse me, Slides. It looks the same way. It'll come in with the formatting here in just a minute, and there you go. So that's an example of uploading files and converting them or not converting them. And again, the setting that does this is under Settings, and it's this one right here, Convert Uploaded Files to Google Docs Editor Format. If you own your own computer and you're going to be using it, or not own your own computer, but it's a computer that only you use, you can also set up for offline mode where it will sync your docs, sheets, slides, and drawings files to your computer so you can edit it offline. This is great for your students as well. If they're using a device and they take it home and their argument is they have no internet, so they can't really do their homework, well, if they check this little box, that isn't an issue anymore. They will be able to do their homework because it will sync when they leave school, and when they get back into school, any changes will get synced back up. So the offline component is good as well. Okay. Back to that idea of working with the files. The Word example file here that's in Word, if, for example, I didn't bring it up a second time, so let me redo that here and take that off. Once I open it up, I can go in here and open it with Google Docs, and at that point, it will convert. So don't worry if you don't have the documents automatically convert. It will do it for you. You can do them as a one-off within Google Docs as well, Google Drive as well. So that was a one-off I just created there by clicking on it and opening it with Google Docs. At this point, do we have any questions? Anybody? Have I been going too fast, or am I going just the right pace? Feel free to unmute and ask your question or type it in the chat box, and we will definitely help you with it. If not, I will continue on. There's some cool features within Google that you can do as well. This is your base to actually create new doc sheets and slides right from the new menu, or you can upload files and folders right here as well by clicking on the new button. You can do it also like I did before, where I just dragged and dropped. That as well is a way to do it just by drag and drop. But if I wanted to upload a whole set of files or folders, I can do that right there. I can also use this to get my docs, sheets, and slides. If I hit the more, I can get to forms, drawings, maps, and sites as well. So really, it's a great way to kind of start your jumping off space. Okay. Let's talk just a little bit about search. So as I said before, Google Docs is part of the G Suite family, has search built into the process. So if I don't remember what I called something, or I don't remember where I saved it, I can use the predictive search to go ahead and search for something. So there's a couple of different ways. The first is I can click on the icon, the search, and I can choose something specific. So I can search for all text documents, or I can clear that out and I can search for all presentations, or I can start typing a name. So I'll type classroom, and now I get all the documents that are part of the Google Classroom, or have the word Google Classroom in it. I can also use our advanced search built in here, and I really like this because it's really helpful to kind of narrow down that document. I can search by a specific kind of document. I can search by an owner, so I can search for something owned by a specific person. So for example, I'm in a Fred Flintstone. Let me put in me. So now I'm going to look for anything that is from molenga.NWOCA.org, and I can see that there's my Google Drive webinar. That's what I've shared with Fred Flintstone. I can also look in certain areas within my drive. I can look in my trasher and starb. I can search by the date modified, and I can go in and search by an item name, who I shared it with, and here's my favorite one, has the words. So as long as I know some words that are actually within the file, I can click has the words, and I can actually search those words. So if I know something has the words classroom in it, I can search that, and now this will bring me any document that has the word classroom somewhere within the document. So it's pretty slick that you can search that way as well. The search in Google is very, very powerful. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about collaboration. Collaboration is a huge part of Google Drive, and it's what makes it such a neat resource. No more are we mailing attachments back and forth. So in our old scenario, I would send an attachment to somebody, they would edit it and send it back, and then I'd make a change and then send it back, and then we end up with multiple versions and attachments all in the stratosphere and not be able to reconcile any of those attachments. Well, not so with Google Drive. So I can go on here within my Drive and I can share a folder with somebody. So I'm going to go ahead and make a folder. This is my January webinars folder. And I'm going to share this folder with Christy so you can see how sharing works. So I'm going to click on the share folder, and then I can type Christy's email in here. Let's put it in here. And now I have the ability to give Christy a couple of different ways to access this file. First way is the most permissive way, where she can organize, add, and edit to that folder, or I can give her a view-only folder. So if I want to go ahead and only let her view the full files inside that folder, I can do that as well. But I'm going to let her do anything. So I share it and I send that to her. And what's going to happen is she will get an email, a notification saying that I shared something with her, and then she has access to that folder and she could drop files within the folder. Once I have shared a folder and I can see that I've shared it up here, now anything I put inside that folder is going to automatically be shared with the same people. So that is a great way to set up a folder that's shared with all the people you need to share it with, and then just drop documents inside there, and then it'll work. So for example, let me go into my Drive again, and I'm going to give her this Word example. I'm going to drop it into January webinars. And as you'll see, I get this notification. Do I want to share this item? Sure. Let's put the PowerPoint example in there. And now it's shared, and we'll put the Excel example in there as well. And now inside that shared folder, I have 3 documents that by the very virtue of them being inside that shared folder are now shared with anyone whom I shared the folder with. So since that's Christy, I've only shared it with Christy. She now has access to this folder, and she could put documents in there as well. Or she could change the documents inside there. Okay. We can also share files within Google Drive. So I'm going to go back out to my Drive, and here's a form called an exit ticket. I'm going to share this file, and I can do that several ways. If I hit share right here, I can share it with a specific person or people. So again, if I want to share this with Christy, I can just put her email in, and then I can send this to her, and now she can share this document and access it, okay? I can also share a document with a link, okay? And this is kind of cool because I don't have to know the person's email address, or I can share it with a large number of people just by posting a link out somewhere on an intranet or in a document, and I can do that as well. So I'm going to share this, but this time I'm going to get a shareable link, okay? It says link sharing is off, only specific people can access, but I'm going to turn this on right now. And right now it's set up that anyone within my domain, Northwest Ohio Computer Association, can view. I want to change that, and I'm going to show you now the 5 layers of link sharing, okay? So right here, right now, anyone at Northwest Ohio Computer Association who has the link can view. I'm going to change that. And now there are 5 specific ways to share. And please note that some of these can be limited by your organization. So if you don't see all 5 inside your Google Drive, it could be that your admin is turned off. For example, my son goes to Brian, and at Brian, he cannot share out his documents outside the Brian domain. So he can share them with my wife, who's a teacher at Brian, but he can't share documents with me. So the most open sharing is public on the web. Okay, that's this one. And when you select public on the web, that means anyone on the internet can find and access it, and they don't have to sign into your domain. So find and access, meaning that that is set up to be shared, searched. So if I send this exit ticket, I make it public on the web, all of a sudden exit ticket can be popping up in the Google search results, and anybody can access it. Be very careful that you really want something to be public on the web. Now, there are a lot of good uses for these documents to be public on the web. For example, if you have forms that you're getting out to the public or things like that, you can make it public on the web. But the one I would recommend is anyone with the link. And that's the second level down here. What that means is anyone who has the link can access it, but they don't need to be a member of your organization. So this would be great for, say, a school newsletter. So if you're putting out a parental newsletter and you want to share it with parents and you don't know all the parents' email addresses, but you want to share it anyway, you can go on and set it to anyone with the link. And then when you copy the link, you can either put it on your website or send it out in an email, however you want to do it. That's anyone with the link. And as long as they have that goofy long link, they can get in there and access the document, okay? We can have, with our domain, anyone with our domain can find and access. So that would be the same as the public, except it would be only within your organization. So you'd have to be signed into your organization. So specifically here on the NWOCA, anybody can find and access if I check that one. So they can do a search and find it. Here, it's anyone at your organization who has the link. So with this one, the person would have to be signed into NWOCA, and as long as they have the link, they can access it. So this would be good for like your teachers or people within your organization. If you're sending out to students and you don't want it to go out beyond your classroom walls, you can set it like that, and as long as they're logged into their account, they'll be able to access it. And then the last one is off. Specific people, and that would be only people that you share within the email address, like I did with Christy. So I'm going to keep it here with anyone at NWOCA with the link. Now there's 3 options in there that we can set up. So we can go in and we can set up anyone 3 levels of link sharing. So let me go in and set here. Let's actually go into forms at this point and share it. So when I, let me actually go into a doc. It'd be easier to show you this in a doc. So I'm in a document right now, and this document is automatically shared with Christy because I share the folder, but I can get a shareable link here, and I have options here. I have 3 options when we share a document. Can view is that people can view the document but not do any changes to it. It's simply view only. The second level up, which is a little bit higher up, is can comment, and that would be the ability to make comments on the side of a document but not make changes to it. And the third one is can edit, and if you give somebody full edit rights, that means that it's now a collaborative document and they can make changes, they can add, they can delete, and what have you. So those are kind of the 3 things that you have. So you've got the 5 layers of link sharing, but you also have the settings what those people can do with each document, and they're different. Like for example, I don't think you can do commenting in Google Forms, but of course you can do it in Google Docs. So that's why there's a difference. I did notice, I believe that Christy put this file in here because I don't think I did it, but we can go on and check. And yep, there's a class notes file that Christy put in there just to show the shared folder. So anything that she puts in there is shared with me, anything that I put in there is shared with her, and that's kind of how the sharing works for Google Drive.
So the Google Drive app, you can actually install it to be part of your MacBook or even your PC. It's not going to be necessary to do on a Chromebook because you're already going to be signed into Google Drive. So it is basically an app, and just what the picture shows up at the top, it puts that little Drive icon at the top of your page. And it's really slick because if you want to upload files like Chris was talking about earlier, if you want to upload files to your Google Drive, you basically can click on that and that will open up and you can drag and drop files from your desktop or from your flash drive or for anywhere else that you have files stored, and then they will immediately be put onto your Google Drive. So this is going to work in exchange for you opening up that web application and dragging and dropping files there. because if you do them using this icon, they will also appear on the web. So you can just kind of pick the one that works best for you. But it is a free app. You just put it on one time, and it's located in the top corner, and this is showing on a MacBook, but he has other pictures from a tablet and a phone. And you basically put it up there, and anytime you want to open up Google Drive, you can go ahead and click on it. And so it's going to work the same way, too, if you want to retrieve any of your files from Google Drive. You don't need to open up Chrome or any web browser. You can just basically click on that application and have a big, long list of all of your files that are within Drive, and then just double-click on any ones that you would like to open, and then it will go ahead and open it from there.
All right, Christy, I think I'm back and I think I'm better, so please confirm if that's not the case.
Yeah, you sound good, Chris.
I think my preschooler got home and got right on the Roku and screwed me up. So I think that's what happened. So I apologize for that. So I want to, before I go to this, I want to go back into the Google Drive itself. So what I did, I created a folder called Spreadsheets, and I'm going to redo this so that everybody can see that. I'm going to move it, go back here, move it. Okay. So now in my January webinars folder, I have this Excel example, but say I want to move that. I can move it by right-clicking on it and saying Move To, and then I can find a spot I want to put it. I can put it in my drive, or if I want to make a new folder right here, I'm going to make a new folder called Spreadsheets. I'm going to hit that, and I'm going to type Spreadsheets. And now I've moved that here. Now it's giving me a warning that I'm moving out of a shared folder called January Webinars, so people are going to lose access. That's okay. So now, because I've moved it out of that folder, Christy doesn't have access anymore. But in this Spreadsheets file, I have a new, I have this Excel example, and it's not shared with anybody. And then I can reshare it with somebody else. So my point in being showing you that is, once you share a folder, anything you drop in there will be shared with whoever you're sharing the folder. And if you remove it out of that folder, they lose the sharing access. So just be aware as you're moving things in and out of folders that does affect the sharing aspect of the document. Okay. We can also, of course, see the shared with me. So if somebody had shared something with me, it would show up in the shared with me, and I can make any of these windows either in icon view or in list view. Okay. We talked about the settings. Also, there are some keyboard shortcuts set up into Google Drive. So once you're in the window, there's these neat shortcuts you can use that will help you to navigate if you're not a person that likes using the keyboard. If you want to see the shortcuts again, you can just come up here under your gear menu, and you can hit keyboard shortcuts, and it will show you all the different shortcuts. So for example, the down arrow or J goes down an item. So if I'm in list view and I hit J, I'm tapping J right now, it's moving down an item. Okay. And I'm using the up arrow to move up an item. So it's very keyboard friendly as well. So we've talked about the user interface a little bit. We've talked about managing folders. We've talked about working with files. We talked about the search, and we talked about the collaboration features of Google Drive. We can also, as mentioned previously, create any of our new documents right here inside Google. So there's really no reason to go into the documents screen. You can just create your document right from here. Same thing with sheet slides and all these other things. And if you start in a folder, so if I start in a Spreadsheets folder and I make a new doc and I save it, put a name on it, it's going to be stored in that folder. So you see that? I never even told it where to save. It just puts it in that folder because I started it from that folder. Okay. If I want to move that folder somewhere else, I can do it one of two ways. I can do it from right inside Google Drive, where I can just click the Move To. And if I want to put it like on the root of the drive, I can put it here. And now it's moved to my drive test doc. And again, those icons are really handy to help you decide what documents are. The Google documents are the same colors as the word in Excel and PowerPoint, so you can kind of figure out which documents are which. Any questions at this point? We're about ready to get things wrapped up, but I want to make sure that I've addressed any questions we have. I apologize for those audio issues we had earlier on. But at this point, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat or ask out loud just by unmuting your device. So. Okay. Hopefully you all can see this file. We have a whole bunch of webinars that are available, again, once a week from now until Memorial Day week. We're going to be doing a follow-up webinar on all these different topics. So if you like to see something about Google Sheets or Google Docs or Google Forms or Google Slides, we do have webinars on all those, and you can get to those from our training website, which is training.NWOCA.org. You can also get involved with our Google Educators group. The link is there, and if you'd like a copy of the presentation, you can copy down that link, and that will get you a copy of this presentation. And we are recording this webinar so that as you are wanting to play it back, you can go to our website at training.NWOCA.org, and you can do the playback of the webinar, and you can watch it again at your own convenience, or you can email that out to some of your colleagues that might want to benefit from something like this. And of course, we also talked about our Tuesday tech tips that you can sign up for as well. Christy, since you've been around the block a couple of times, I'm going to let you kind of talk about the CEUs at this point if you can.
Sure. So the CEUs go through our FileMaker system through NWOCA, and so that's auto-generated. So by tomorrow morning when you get into work, you should have an email from our system that will have a link for an evaluation for this webinar. So if you fill out the first page of the evaluation, just based on, any responses that you can give us from sitting through this webinar, and then the second page of the form, you're going to put your first name, last name, and your district, and when you click on submit, that will go through our system, and there's basically a script that runs on the back end that will then auto-generate your CEU. So once you complete that evaluation, the first and second page of the evaluation or of the form, when you click on submit, it usually takes just a couple minutes, and then your CEU certificate will come directly to your email inbox. So we have 24 hours out listed on that little post-it note because that is just for the initial email. So again, that will come before you get to work in the morning tomorrow, and then once you fill that out, then you will get your CEU certificate.
Thanks, Christy. At this point, is there anybody that wants to see something a little bit more in depth? We have about 7 minutes left in our webinar, and I'd be glad to show anybody something they want to see more in depth, so feel free to either chat or unmute, and I'd be glad to go back in and show you something a little bit more in depth. Google Drive is a lot to kind of go through in 45 minutes to an hour. We have some 3-hour trainings on it. It's so involved. So please feel free to ask any questions, or if you want to see something again, please let me know. And we'll stick around for at least till 4:30 to answer any questions that might pop up. So feel free to send a chat or just unmute your screen and talk to us that way. So we appreciate you joining us, and I hope that you'll sign up for future webinars because we really have a lot of knowledge to share, and I know that professional development is in demand, and it's not always convenient to do it at a certain time. So hopefully we've set our webinar schedule. We've got some in the evenings, got some early right after school, some just a little bit after school. So we're trying to make it as convenient as possible for you guys to get the training you need. And don't forget, if you're a full member district with NWOCA, all of our training opportunities are free. We can come out to your school or your classroom and help you out there as well. So we are here to serve you in whatever way we can. So we really appreciate you joining us on the webinar today, and please let us know if there's anything else we can do, if you want to see anything more in depth. Okay, we did have one question that popped up, so I'm going to go in and answer it. The person asked if they're working on a Word document and then want to save the finished product in Google Drive, how would they do that? There's a couple of different ways to do this, and I'm going to get out of the screen and hopefully you can see my Google Drive screen. I'm going to stop sharing for a second and share that. When you're in Word on your computer, if you go to save it, you can save in a couple of different ways. The first way is if you have the Google Drive application installed like Christy talked about, that's a folder just like anything else. So you can just save it there. So you can just find that folder on your computer. And so I have a Google folder called Google Drive right here. And so I could just save my Word document right into this Google Drive folder right here, and then it will automatically be synced up there. So let me just show that real quick. Let me pull up the file of my Google, those documents. So I'm in Word, I've saved it, I've put it in here. And now when I go into my Google Drive, that folder is going to be there as well. That's one way to do it. The other way to get it into your Google Drive is to be working, and then once it's saved, you just drag it up right onto here, which is your Google Drive folder open in Chrome. And if you drop it there, then it'll get moved up as well. So two ways to do it. If you're using a lot of Word files and you want to save them into your Google Drive, I would seriously recommend installing the extension that allows you to install, the application right on your computer and have it sync all the time. Good question. Any other questions? Again, if you are going to be doing a lot of things on your computer with apps that aren't the Google apps, I really would encourage you installing that Drive, application that resides on your computer. It'll automatically sync anything in your Google Drive folder to your computer, and then it's just another folder on your computer. For those of you using the web interface for everything, once you've created a Google Doc, it's just always going to be in your Drive. Well, again, we really appreciate you joining us for the webinar today. If you want a copy of the presentation, that link should still be on the screen. And please fill out the evaluation, and hopefully you'll join us for a future webinar. And I'll stick around for about 5 minutes or so to answer any questions that might come up. But otherwise, have a great Tuesday afternoon and a great rest of the week. And thanks so much for joining us.